And we're back. So I've noticed a lot when I do edits. I say hi guys a lot and I mean it, hi guys. And I tend to look down. It's because I've got notes here and I'm always trying before I start, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to talk about, but for some reason I do triple and quadruple checks. That's crazy. So today, what I want to talk about with you, want to share something Jesus showed me, like a beautiful revelation, a revelation of Jesus Christ, actually. And I'm always praying for us that we always get a revelation of Jesus Christ. I still pray that for myself as well. And in His grace and His mercy, He still reveals Himself to me. So I am thankful for that. I could never know enough of God. Is too big. But I was thankful for this type of revelation. So the revelation of Christ I saw, what He showed me, was He said to me, if Jesus was to come today, a lot of us wouldn't recognize Him. We wouldn't be able to see Him. We wouldn't know who He is. And the reason why is because we live in the order of the world, not in the order of Jesus Christ. So, you hear terms like New World Order or Antichrist order, but these are the orders that we are currently in, and we're so entrenched in them that we can't, we won't be able to see the Lord. We won't be able to recognize Him at all if He was to even walk past. And so He showed me, He gave me this example. So in a vision, He took me to a time like when He was walking this earth, right? And when I looked at the time He was walking the earth, I know it's a weird revelation to say, but it's really weird to say it, but I'm going to say it because I think maybe we don't realize it because we are so stuck on the present and we're always chasing ninth and 10th generation computer TI technology stuff and SGI that. We're always looking for these things that we forget that Jesus was living in a time where it was very rural. They didn't have running water in their houses, so there was no taps. They had to go fetch water at a river. They didn't have electricity. Jesus didn't live with electricity in His house. They used candles and lamps. So it wasn't as, romantic as we see in the movies and, back in the days. In fact, the way Jesus lived is the way still many villages, what people term third world countries, they'll term them third world countries, still live like. In the rurals with donkeys. Jesus didn't have a car. He never rode a bus. He doesn't, like when He was walking this earth. And people say that, oh, that's the past. But for people that are living now and still living a life that's very similar to how Jesus was back in the day, and we think that Jesus is just for the rich. And it's interesting, when we've made Him a god of money, a god of things, a god of aeroplanes, a god of travel, all these weird terms that we've put on Jesus, not to say that He wouldn't give it to you. I'm not saying that He wouldn't. If you want to fly, you can fly. If you want a better household, it's an add-on to have electricity. It's an add-on to have a mansion house. But literally the houses He most probably was living in, again, are not so different from rural areas where maybe it's like 2 rooms people have got to share. There's a barn and things like that. You know what I mean? So they didn't even use the type of concrete we use and the types of designs. Everything that we have right now is an add-on, but we've used these add-ons as virtue. Just like we've used the type of skin color, the type of body you have as a virtue. We do talk a lot on this earth about the type of body you have, and we'll even categorize you according to your looks and according to your race and according to your height, as if that's your virtue. And we don't really talk about how kind people are. Instead, I'll talk about your fashion sense. I'll talk about your look outside, if you were pleasing for me to see, to look at. And therefore, that's the only time I'm going to listen to what you're saying, because my eyes are pleased. And I thought when he showed me at that time, virtue was not based on clothes. Virtue wasn't based on body type, whether height or size. Virtue was actually based on a heart, what type of heart a person had. So much so when one of the disciples asked Jesus, who like the question about who's the good Samaritan. And then Jesus is basically gives him the parable, like the Jew walks past this one, his own brother, but a Samaritan stops. It wasn't even the fact that, it was a Samaritan, a different tribe, a different person. It was the virtue, the kindness that he showed to the stranger. Well, for us, again, these types of kindness, we put them on the spotlight so people can see that, I am doing some form of charity and I'm charitable, and that should also count. And guys, it's in the heart. So anyways, I don't want to go further than that, but so yes, definitely something that I don't really want to go into further. But what I wanted to share with that is Jesus was revealing himself. He was saying that at that time, if I was living like what you guys now call poor, in rural areas, or in villages, that's what you call poor. Then when I was preaching about the poor, exactly what did I mean when I was saying poor? Oh, sorry guys. So what did I mean when I was saying poor? Like, what was I talking about? When I said poor, and I said, sure, Lord, I don't know, that is confusing actually when we think about it in depth. And he says, okay, because when I look at people living in villages, he says, I don't call them poor. Why do you call them poor? And I said, because Lord, we're comparing to what we've been giving, these templates that we've been given. And so much so that even in villages, they think that God is the God of the one that's given people mansions, God that's given people running water in their houses, and they're able to fly, they got cars, those types of things, that we've measured Christ and we've put that on Christ as if that's what he's the God of. And he says that when he was talking about poor, he was saying that what is poor is that it's a mental state. It's the way we see things. It's a perception. There's a scripture, it is written in the word that if you've got darkness inside, even Jesus says, be careful, like that the light that is inside of you is not darkness. Right? Because it says, from the darkness you perceive things. So this is where poverty is. It's poverty and poor is the way we perceive things. Like when Paul even says, one thing he's learned is that whether he's, he's high or whether he's low, wherever he is, he's learned to be content. Because we're always coveting, we're always jealous, we're always envious, we're always angry. In the book of Timothy, it's written that we have not because we ask not. He says like you kill because you do not have. You know what I mean? All those things that we keep doing out of covetousness with the covetous heart. We've now made gods of those things, and then we are saying, God, to prove who you are, I want you to give me what my heart's desire is. And my heart's desire is sometimes to be better than my neighbor, better than this person, to do better, to keep up with the Joneses, to look like this, to look like that. I want this type of thing. Exactly, we're talking about virtue now is also in the clothes that we put on, in the type of bodies that we have. So that is also, people classify that as a virtue currently. Yeah, girl, I don't know how many diets and exercise and things I've heard, but nobody ever wants to talk about basically how do we deal with the fact that mass children currently around the world are being molested? Do we have a program? We've got now orphans, like high numbers because of drugs in different countries and different places, high addictions. So the question is, what are we doing? Apart from it can't be just the government that does it. How do we put our hands in there? How do we help? And those that are already helping, congratulations. I really thank the Lord that He's raised you up in such a time as this to start doing something instead of, like the rest of us that sit and complain and point fingers, and we've decided, okay, I'm just going to be apathetic. I don't want to deal with it. I'm just going to focus on doing a dance here and, waste all my money on trying to create a perfect look that I would get attention for. Things like that. So we have now basically moved in the way that we were doing things into this type of situation. So Jesus now is saying the way that we are thinking, this is poverty. This is what the type of poverty he was talking about. He was even showing me, if you look at Isaiah 58 from verse 6 onwards, all the way to the end, he then describes, sorry, that's Marius. That's the guy that's helping us with painting. So I'm not going to remove him. He's a nice man. So he was even talking about, if you look at Isaiah 58, and then he's describing what he talks about when he's talking about, help the orphans, help the widow, help the people that have had to flee whatever type of war zone they're coming from. It may have been an abusive husband or abusive country, but help the people, help the person. If you don't have the facilities, maybe in the country or maybe you're struggling, or you are struggling as the person, find the right way, to help the person. There's different ways we can help, but we choose not to because we've decided that there's what is the poor. The poor maybe is somebody that to you is somebody that doesn't have what you have, doesn't have your 2 or 3 cars or many houses. So we've actually really put it on stuff. And poverty is not stuff. Poverty is in the inside. At one point, it was even, if you look at Isaiah 58 from verse 6, and he says, speaking against the oppressor, coming against oppression. You can either be on the side of the oppressive side, you still have to speak against that, and you can be the oppressor and still coming against oppression. So oppression, what happens with oppression is I get a fear and I decide I'm going to make laws to comfort me and put me in a safe bubble and safe space against what I'm fearing. And then oppression is you fear a person, a race, a nation, and then you're going to kind of, or sometimes what we have now is different standards of living, right? I hear immigrants. So I'm going to do a law that makes sure they don't come and flood this place in such a way that I'm feeling uncomfortable, unsafe, and I'm going to do all of these things. Mind you, in the time of Jesus, there was no such thing as border control. This earth is the Lord's and everything in it. So I'm not saying that we should now all go haywire. I'm saying that we can all work together if we've got clear boundaries. And one of the boundary is not oppression. If you feel like, okay, we cannot take immigrants, we're going to send them back, but where they are, maybe we could try helping them if we come into an agreement with another country. And there's many ways as a nation, many ways of people that we can come together and decide. But every time we try to help, always, somebody's always got an agenda. That's poverty. You've got an agenda to oppress, an agenda to get more, and how can I get more out of the situation? How can I manipulate the situation that I come up on top? Anyways, in all of these problems that we are facing, in all of these weird concepts that we have, come Jesus walks past you, coming from a rural village, with a not so light skin tone, not so blue eyes, really dark hair, maybe even very olive looking, walks past. Some people wouldn't even say that's Jesus. So what I felt him saying in the revelation of Jesus Christ, and as he was sharing this, he was saying that we really need to bring our hearts to him, because it's with your heart that you perceive. If I look at people and I've decided this person is like that person is like that, or this situation is like that, without really seeking the Lord in what He is saying, what are you saying, God? Like, what makes this person poor? Are they poor? Right? Exactly what do you want me to do? Oh, you just want me to assist with grocery. That doesn't mean poverty. That just means like just assist with grocery. That's it, but like in a place where maybe he's saying that, okay, go deal with the oppressed over there. That's real poverty. There's oppressed people over there. There's orphans over there that have been neglected. Nobody's looking after them. Go look after that person. Like, go help where you can. Go lend your hands there. All these things. So guys, we can do better. We can do better. And I do believe that if we were to change our perspective of how we see things, a mansion and a hut does not equate poverty and riches. If you are comfortable with your money to spend on your house and make it big like this, that's fine. I've known people with their money not caring, especially in South Africa, saying like, I don't care, I don't want to go live in a suburb, it's boring. Take their money and go live in a township. They're like, no, it's just much happier there. People are laughing. I can see my neighbors talk. In the suburbs, nobody talks. Nobody talks to each other, and I don't like that. I like knowing my neighbors, and that's, the person is freely choosing that. It doesn't mean they don't have money, or it just means they're looking at the type of life and the type of life they want to live. It may not be what you call the richest suburb of the world, but to him, it's where people will say, oh, it's low income housing. And for him, he's like, it's not about maybe even the tax break. He's just happier with the company, the type of people he's meeting there, the type of conversations and discussions he's having in these places. So we really have to change. I would say, ask the Lord for a revelation of Jesus Christ. Ask him to show you when he's walking past you. I wouldn't want you to miss him. And I'm sharing with you because I'm now more aware of, sure, Lord, if I've got a blind spot anywhere, please tell me in the name of Jesus. I mean, I know for sure the one he was sharing about the type of places he was living in, or the type of villages that we know now. He was living in places like that. And it really threw me for six, because it's not the past for people that live like that still. That's not for, oh, that was in the past. No, for them, it's now. And for you that is living in such a place, God is for you. He does not care. He's not limited by location. You can pray where you are, and he will hear you. So I bless you. I thank you for listening, and you have a good day. Bye.